Hello everybody. Wanted to kind of just go through this morning and update a few things that we've got going on here on the homestead. And first thing I want to update is the black-eyed peas that I planted back on June the 10th. They're all up really good and look like we're probably going to start seeing some blooms on them here pretty quick. Here's the spot where I had my early black eyes that I planted back in April. They've produced real well. Kind of just went through and kind of mowed them down a little bit, and I'm letting Moselle and Ansel go through this spot now. I'm just moving them around every couple of days and letting them kind of clean it up and get it ready for fall. Israel melons are still coming on pretty strong. I've been picking quite a few of them, and these on this side of the garden have been delicious. Not sure what the reasoning is, but on the other side, on the east side of my garden, the ones I've picked over there have not been as tasty and sweet. Maybe a difference in the soil. As far as water goes, I've been watering them about the same. There's a couple of rows of sweet potatoes that we planted back on July the 1st. We just cut slips off of the ones I've got growing over on the west side, and just started these, and they're doing real well now. I think, is it Bobby? Is it Bobby that calls them draws? I'm not sure. He can clear that up with me. Just kidding, Bobby. There's some more up in there, doing pretty good. I think I mentioned in a couple of videos ago when I was thinning my black-eyed peas, that a lot of times I'll take and some of the ones that I'm thinning out, I'll take and plant somewhere else. In this row here, I had an extra row over here by my sweet potatoes, and I just took and thinned some of those black eyes out and moved them over here into this row, and I've got about a 20-foot row here of black eyes that all did pretty good for just a plant that was going to be thrown away. I don't know if you like me or not, I just can't stand to throw plants away. It's one of the squash plants that I had cut back pretty much to the ground because of some squash damage back here a while back. And this squash here was actually planted back in 1st of April, and it's all came back pretty good, putting on blooms, and got a pretty healthy leaf system on them. And I don't know if it's the heat or if it's just some of the preventative maintenance I've been doing, but I haven't seen near as many of the squash critters, the squash bugs, affecting my plants here lately. Here's another one of the squash plants that I had cut back, and it's actually, I don't know if you can see that or not, it's got three pretty good squash down in there. There's a couple of new little pumpkin plants that I've got coming up here in the garden. If I calculated this right, I should be having pumpkins around 1st of October off of these particular plants. We'll see. Tomatoes I've cut back have all started to put out little new growth on them. Historically, like I said in a couple of videos ago when I talked about this, normally I can cut these things back like this and let some of that growth come out, like this plant in front of us here. And these things will actually grow up and start producing some more fruit. You know, usually around 1st September I'll start getting some more tomatoes off of them. And then those cool temperatures you get in the fall will really help set some fruit on them. And we were picking tomatoes last year at Thanksgiving. And then of course you always have this as well. Usually 75–80% will produce more stems on them. This one here, this particular one didn't. There's one there that I thought wasn't going to produce anything on it, but as you can see there, it's really starting to put out some little side shoots. Now it doesn't guarantee it's going to produce anything, but we'll see. Okra's all up, most of them are around 6 feet or so tall, and doing well. As you can see in that one there, I let those go just a little bit too long, but I'm going to leave them on there and let them fully mature and get the seeds out of them. Here's the zucchini that I planted back on June the 10th, and it's done real well. Hadn't started blooming yet, but I expect that here pretty quick anytime. And you can see it's kind of grown over into my purple holes that I've got next to them. yellow squash that I planted on June 10th is a little slower than the zucchini, but still coming out pretty good. I've got 4 of these plants here. Some more pumpkins I've got planted here on the east side of the garden. Like I say, pumpkins typically will take about 100 to 120 days depending on what variety, and if I've got my math calculated right, I should be seeing some pumpkins and maturing around 1st of October. Try to save me some money on that decorating money that my wife spends buying pumpkins every year. Well, Speckles and Big Mama's investigating a Isarmelon I found that had a rotten spot on it here in the garden. They're in there trying to figure out how to get in that thing. Well guys, I think I'm going to stop it right there. Got several other things I'd like to show, but I think I'll save that for the next video just to keep this from running too long. But I just hope everybody's having a good weekend so far, and appreciate you watching the videos. We'll see y'all later.